So, you want to be a graphic designer? Well, I have 5 tips for getting started. Let's go. Tip number 1, technical knowledge. Whether you learn this in school and get a degree for it, or learn it online, self-taught by yourself, technical knowledge of graphic design programs is an absolute must. You have to understand how to use the Adobe Creative Suite. They have a ton of different apps in the Adobe Creative Suite, but the 3 main programs you're going to need to know are Illustrator, InDesign, and Photoshop. In Illustrator, you're going to be creating vector logos and designs, which means that this is infinitely scalable, which is perfect for branding and logo creation. For InDesign, you're going to be creating layout and formatting, which is perfect for booklets and magazines and postcards and flyers and any sort of print collateral or digital collateral that needs a layout. And Photoshop, you are going to be able to edit any photo to create a certain look and feel for the photos that you implement in whatever brand or collateral that you're creating. And with knowledge of those 3 softwares combined, you will be able to kick ass and design anything that you want. Number 2, you will definitely need to have an understanding of art knowledge. Whether, again, you learn this from school or you're self-taught, you definitely need to have an understanding of art knowledge. And this ranges from color theory to principles of design to font and typography knowledge to layout design to grid design of layouts. And understanding the basic elements of visual design and layout with art knowledge will definitely help your work shine through as compared to others, because it'll show that you understand color palettes, you understand values, you understand visual repetition and consistency, and it will really allow whatever you're designing to stand apart from others because you will have that base art knowledge. And at the end of the day, graphic design is just art, really, but in a very communicative way. So making sure that you have the basic understandings of art is very important. And that is why when you do go to university for graphic design, you have to take tons of studio art classes, because you have to have that base knowledge of art and understanding to become a graphic designer. Well, become a successful graphic designer. Step number 3, you have to assert yourself, or should I say, insert yourself. You absolutely have to assert and insert yourself into any situation that could potentially get you a job. For example, the only reason that I am a senior graphic designer today was because when I was in college, I think a sophomore in college, I went to a career fair and I made sure to take time to design my resume to look like a very heavily designed graphic designer's resume. Now at this college fair, there were no specific callouts to graphic designers, but I went up to companies that I was interested in and was like, hey, do you need a graphic designer? Because if you do, I'm your girl. So you definitely need to assert yourself, whether that's emailing potential clients, all of your friends and family saying, hey, I'm a graphic designer, I need work, posting stuff on social media, reaching out to companies. Asserting yourself is a really important part to actually getting work. Once you understand all of the basic technical and art knowledge of becoming a graphic designer, you actually have to insert yourself into any situation that will actually get you paid. Because we all know the real purpose in life is getting paid. Step number 4, you absolutely have to have a portfolio. So when I say portfolio, it can be a few different things. It could either be an online website, it could be a printed portfolio, it could be your social media. So I would highly suggest doing all digital. If you're going to school, you'll probably have to have a printed portfolio because a lot of teachers make you do that. But in the real world, a lot of the times you're not going to be sending a printed portfolio unless you decide to, which is always a plus. If you're deciding to apply somewhere, sending them a printed portfolio in addition to your digital portfolio will give you a thumbs up. But make sure at the very least you have a digital portfolio that you can send out to anyone. And I have a Squarespace just because it's super easy and super simple, but I know that there's a ton of other websites that you can use to create a portfolio to show off your work. It's really important to have a portfolio because when you're applying somewhere, you can have all the credentials in the world, but if you don't have the design projects to prove to people that you have all of these accreditations, then they're not going to believe you. The proof is in the pudding. For example, we were hiring graphic designers at my work, and some people were applying without portfolios, and immediately those applications were thrown in the trash because if you're not showing your work and your body of work and what you've been able to work on and been able to visually accomplish, and allows other people to, yes, judge you based off of your visual design aesthetic, then you'll never get a job because the job is creating visuals. So you need to prove that you're able to create those visuals, not just with a resume, but with a portfolio showing off all of the projects that you've been able to work on so far. Even if they're personal projects, include those. If you haven't had time to work on a real project, or if you've only done school projects, that's okay. As long as you're able to show any project that you've been able to work on, that's what's really going to set you apart when you're applying to any sort of graphic design position, or when you're trying to persuade someone to hire you for graphic design. Be like, hey, look at all this cool shit I did. It's amazing. Hire me now. Number 5 is last but absolutely not least, and that is dedication. Yes, to be a graphic designer, you have to have the utmost dedication, and I say this from so much knowledge. I mean, I spend like 90% of my time thinking about graphic design, and it is not because I'm forced to. Luckily, I am just naturally obsessed with graphic design and art in general, and it's a passion of mine, which I think helps you if you're a graphic designer. If it's your actual passion and you really find joy in art and design in general, then you're definitely gonna have a step ahead in the game of becoming a graphic designer, because dedication will allow you to complete all the other tips that I just mentioned. It'll allow you to learn technical skills by yourself. It'll allow you to learn art skills by yourself. Even if you're going to school, learning those two things by yourself does not stop. I went to school and had someone teach me that, but on the side, I'm still learning. Even now, after I've graduated and have been graduated for a few years. So it's always learning and always being dedicated. Also, being dedicated means that you're going to be able to assert yourself, because if you're dedicated, then you're going to have the passion to be able to want to be like, hey, hire me. And also having the dedication means that you'll have time to work on your portfolio. When you're hanging out at home and you want to be playing video games or doing something else, like there's always time for that, but you also have to be working on your portfolio so that when you are planning on applying for something or looking for a new job or looking for a new client, you already have the dedication and the time allocated to, work as hard as you can on your portfolio to make yourself look the best that you can and get paid. So those are my 5 tips for becoming a graphic designer. Everyone's different. Everyone can become a graphic designer in their own route, but I would say that those are the 5 top tips to being able to become a successful graphic designer. And this is coming to you from a senior graphic designer. I was a senior graphic designer at age 24, and I consider myself to be pretty successful, and I love my job. I've always strive to have the in-house design job that I have today. And I really think that hard work and dedication, tip number 5, really had to do with that. Along with everything else, knowledge, studying, being persistent, asserting yourself, everything combined will allow you to become a successful graphic designer. And I know it's cliche, but if you work hard enough, you can do it. Trust in yourself. You got this.